Hi guys, it's Dr. A again. So I wanted to start out by talking some about parenting because I think parenting is the hardest thing that anybody ever does, and we give people almost no help or training with it, even though we have a pretty good idea of what works or what's effective. A lot of different things can influence parenting. For example, you can have a mismatch between a parent's kind of innate personality and tendencies in a child. So maybe the parent's an extrovert and the child's an introvert, or vice versa. Also, some kids are easier to parent. So if you happen to have the child who likes to sit in the corner and read a lot and isn't very reactive, that's pretty easy to parent. I call that like 8th, 9th grade parenting, like everybody can kind of make it up on their own. If you have a child that just has maybe a few issues, like they may be a little reactive about things, or they have some anxiety, or maybe they have ADHD, then you're starting to get into like high school level parenting. If you have a child that has multiple concerns, so you have a child with autism and ADHD, or you have a child who has anxiety and a major medical condition, then you're starting to get into like college PhD parenting. It's really hard to figure that out. We actually do have some good research on what works and what doesn't work, however, really not very good at getting that out to parents. There's a group of parent training programs that have been shown in research to be effective, and they're recommended by the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry for children with oppositional behaviors, which, let's face it, are most children. I'm going to put a link to those programs in the comments, and I will also do some future videos to discuss each of the programs separately. What I tell parents is this. Again, I already said this, but I'll say it again. Parenting is the hardest thing that anybody does, and we give people almost no training in it. So what I tell people is I rode horses for 20 years and took a lesson every week. And it's easier to ride a horse than it is to parent a child. I've been taking weekly classes in ceramics for the last 2 years, and it's a lot easier to make a pot than it is to parent a child. So I think that it only makes sense that we get training and help when we're parenting a child, particularly a child who's struggling. I really don't believe in bad children. I think that children are having behaviors because of different things that are innate in their genetics, or because of stresses in their environment. For example, when children are anxious, they're anxious by melting down or shutting down. So they'll be whiny, they can seem bratty, they can have a lot of tantrums, a lot of meltdowns, even if they seem like they're too old to be having meltdowns, or they run off, they get under something, they refuse to come out of their bedroom. Those aren't bad children. They're children who are having anxiety and don't know how to deal with it. I've seen time and time again in my 30-year career that when those children get the help that they need and the families get the help that they need, that in a few months, they can be completely different, happy kids, the kids they're meant to be, not the kids that they're forced to be because of the stress that they're under. I tell parents that even if you have the perfect family, which I don't believe in because I think we're all screwed up, but if you just happen to have the one perfect family, if your child's stressed out for other reasons, it doesn't matter. They're going to be anxious and stressed out. So if they're struggling with communication, we know that children that have speech disorders have twice as many temper tantrums as other children have temper tantrums for longer. If they're dealing with an illness or an ongoing medical problem, those children are going to be more stressed. Also, if your child's being bullied at school or they're struggling in school because they have a learning difference, those children are going to be stressed out. They're going to melt down and act out at home because they spend from 8 in the morning till 2 or 3 in the afternoon every day just trying to hold it together. Over the next few days and weeks, I'm hoping to be able to post some more videos that go into more detail on how you can help your child and your family to have a happier, more pleasant life. We know that children that get early behavioral intervention do much better later in life, even as adults. So changes that you make now can be a change that can benefit your child for the rest of their life. I hope this is helpful, and I'd appreciate it if you have any specific questions. Please feel free to post them. Thanks.